Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rolka. It's a very astute question about the exercises here on the channel. I notice in a lot of your vocal onset staccato syllables, you use almost always he syllable and rarely other vowels or consonant combinations such as hey or ha on the staccato portion, with the legato portion after going through all the vowels. A few times you use you or may or we for balancing the staccato pitches as well, but rarely. Is there a particular reason E is used for the staccato balancing so much more than the other vowels? Also, what are the reasons for the Y for U, or the M for A, or the W for E syllables you also use but not as frequently? In the W syllables, I can feel my throat is free and open more than any other consonant. Thanks for any advice. So it's a really great, very astute question. And I'm going to take it in parts. Basically, I'm playing the law of averages. That would be the short TLDR version of my answer. Generally speaking, the W with the E vowel, we, stands the best chance of being easily accessible by a vocalist that I've never heard and don't know anything. I know nothing about. I know a lot of things about the human voice, and I know a lot about training vocalists. And out of that, I'm, like I said, playing the averages. That vowel sound, the E vowel, is usually the vowel that folks can narrow without squeezing too much. If they're from certain places, they can tend to spread it, so it becomes a kind of a wee thing instead of a wee sound. But you balance that out with other vowels such as you as well. Now, the exercises that this question is about are ones like this. And in an exercise like that, I'm using the we syllable to try to help you, the vocalist singing along, find balance in phonation, find balance in your singing voice. And then you sing the melismatic section, hopefully maintaining that same balance. This question doesn't address it. There's another question coming up. I don't think it's in questions from Comments 57. It might be 58. But at any rate, this is also why those exercises should generally be done on one breath. So once you start, now I can take a breath. There's no breathing in the middle of the exercise because when you breathe, you abduct the vocal fold, and that resets it. And what we want to do here is move towards melismatic vowel production. That's melismatic vowel production, singing a scale, as it were. That's very similar to singing a song. Way more simple in a lot of respects, but similar. And that's what we want to move towards. So we want to get these vocalizations, we want to give you a chance to get balanced, and then we want to try and maintain that balance in an exercise that's more similar to what a song would sound like, the way that you'd be using your voice with a song. A few times you use you and may or we for balancing the staccato pitches as well, but rarely. Those times can be dependent on if I'm doing a registration event practice or if I am challenging you. So you very frequently gets used when we are practicing register changes. So for example, for the tenor, you is a very common registration event practice. I use you there because the Y sound is fairly easy to produce and it doesn't close the front of the mouth. Keeps it in a neutral position. Also, it's not too wide. That's good for the oo vowel because the oo needs openness in the rear of the oral cavity, the rear of the mouth. And oo is typically easier to keep adducted vocal folds when you're not familiar with this technique. So if you've got a vocalist that has been singing in an airy capacity, and this is a lot of vocalists, then the oo sound will be easier for them to close or adduct the vocal folds. On the other side of the equation, if you've got a vocalist that has been squeezing out their high notes, then they can frequently make that hollow kind of head voicey sound fairly easily too. So again, I am using vowel sounds and syllables that are trying to help the vocalist get the desired result. Also, what are the reasons for the Y for oo, or the M for A, or the W for E syllables? Now, taken outside of the registration event practice, I will change the consonant in front of the exercise depending on whether or not it is meant to be an exercise for a more of a beginner intermediate vocalist versus someone that's more intermediate to advanced. The W, pardon me, not the Y. Well, the Y is the first syllable that you typically get when you're doing registration event practice, singing over the break. But the W is pretty easy. It's pretty easy to make that sound, and I think some of that front of face, lip, and jaw motion too helps the vocalist to loosen things up a little bit so that they can adopt different shapes that are more suited to their voice for the range that they are in. When you start getting into M sounds, that's more of a challenge, and I'm challenging you to maintain your phonation through the M, to control how hard you are pressing your lips together. So for example, if we were singing an exercise, and I had may. The goal would be to make sure that the vowel sounds are consistent despite the change in consonant. Sometimes I might have an exercise, the goal there is to phrase through the M's. In other words, keep your air moving so that the M doesn't obstruct the flow of air any more than is absolutely necessary. You want to be light with the lips, just barely touch them together. So sometimes I'm issuing a challenge without saying so. Sometimes I'm always trying to help. Let me be very, very clear about this. But I'm wanting to just have a little teensy-weensy little challenge to keep your voice moving along the path so you get more increased balance in the overall phonation of your singing voice and be able to use more of it and get more satisfaction out of it. I hope that I've answered your question. If you got follow-ups, drop them in the comments below. And until next time, big thank you to my supporters on Patreon, and a big thank you to all of you who have chosen to subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.